So far till now we have discussed displacement current and equation of continuity. Now we are going to discuss some examples or some problems based on these concepts so that your concept of displacement current and equation of continuity will be cleared. So let us take the first example. You see here I have written a problem that apply Ampere's law to the closed curve C bounded by the surface S in figure A and B. You can see in these two figures that this is a closed curve C in both of the figures, and this is a closed surface S, and this surface S is bounded by the closed curve C. And we have to apply Ampere's original law, that is not the modification done by Maxwell in Ampere's law. And then we have to find what we get the result. You will see after solution that results in both figures will be different. See in this figure there is actually a capacitor which is denoted by C dashed, and in first figure A it is outside of the surface, and in second figure the capacitor is inside the surface. So this is the difference between these two figures. Now second part of the problem states that so that the circuit A and B yields the same result if we include the displacement current in Ampere's law. It means the second part says that if we consider the modified form of Ampere's law, the modification which was done by Maxwell by taking the postulate of displacement current, then we will get that both circuit will give the same result. So let us now solve this problem. First of all, we will solve the first part in which we will apply Ampere circuital law for both of the figures. So see the solution. So the part 1, I am going to solve part 1. We know from the integral form of Ampere circuital law, according to Ampere's circuital law. In integral form, you know this is integral along C H dot dl. This is tangential line integral of the vector field H along C, and this is equal to what? This is equal to the total current inside the loop, and this is given as integral over S J dot ds. This is actually the original Ampere circuital law in integral form. You know here J is the current density. So now we will apply this equation to the figure A and again for the figure B. So for the circuit in A, this is integral along C H dot dl, and this will be equal to what? You can see in this figure that the capacitor is outside of the surface, so there will be electric current through the surface, and hence we can write this as J dot S, and this J dot S is what? This is simply I, the current in the circuit. And so this is the answer of the for the figure A. Now we will apply this Ampere circuital law defined in equation 1 for the figure B. So for the circuit in B, see the figure. Integral h dot dl along C equal to what? This will be integral over S 0 dot ds. Why 0? Because you can see in this figure B that the capacitor is inside the surface, and as you know, between the two plates of the capacitor actually there is a gap or an insulator, so no electric current will flow. And if we not assume any other current like displacement current, what Maxwell has assumed, but in original Ampere's law there was no assumption of such a current, then the current will be 0, and so I have taken here J equal to 0, and so the result will be what? This will be 0. So you can see the solution that the result for the two figures is different. If we apply the Ampere circuital law, these two results you can see that are not same. And now the second part of the problem states that we have to apply again Ampere circuital law, but after the modification of Maxwell, that is considering the Maxwell's postulate of displacement current. Now we will apply Ampere circuital law, that is modified form of Ampere circuital law for these two figures. You know what is the modified Ampere circuital law? When we include the displacement current, the law becomes what? You know it. So if in Ampere circuital law Ampere's circuital law, we include displacement current, then the law becomes what? The law becomes in this condition, you can see it easily. Actually in this condition the law includes the displacement current, and in mathematical form or particularly in integral form we write it as integral along C h dot dl. This is equal to integral over S J plus del D by del T dot ds. This is the modified form of Ampere's circuital law after the introduction of this displacement current del D by del T, which is denoted by JD. Now we will apply this equation 2 for the two figures. So for the circuit in figure A, you can see here as the capacitor is outside of the closed surface, so conduction current flows through the surface, but displacement current inside that surface is 0. So in this figure JD which is actually equal to del D by del T is 0 in this figure. And so equation 2 gives what this equation will then give. You can see that this equation will give integral along C h dot dl equal to integral over S j dot ds, and here J is conduction current, and so we can say that this is the flux of the conduction current density vector, and it will be equal to the conduction current I, and say this is equation number 3. Now we will apply this equation number 2 for the circuit in figure B. So for the circuit in figure B, you can see in figure B the capacitor is inside the surface, and so through the gap between two plates of the capacitor displacement current will flow, but there will be no conduction current. So in this case actually conduction current density J will be 0, but this JD will be not 0. So what we can write? We can write that integral along C h dot dl is equal to integral over S del D by del T dot ds. And as here we are considering only the explicit time dependence of vector D, so we can write this equation in an equivalent manner as d dt integral over S d dot ds. D is electric displacement, and you can see this is just a normal surface integral. By applying the Gauss's divergence theorem, you can change this normal surface integral into volume integral. So by the application of Gauss's divergence theorem, what we can write it? We can write it as this is d dt integral over the volume V. So remember, this volume V is the volume enclosed by the closed surface S, and the theorem says that this will be equal to divergence d dV. Here we have, this is actually Gauss's divergence theorem. This is Gauss's divergence theorem. Gauss's divergence theorem. And as we know from the Gauss's law in electrostatics, this divergence D is actually equal to rho. So from Gauss law for D vector, that is microscopic form of Gauss law, states that divergence of D is equal to rho, and rho is volume charge density, you know. And so what will be our result? our result will be integral along C of what? H dot dl, and this will be equal to d dt integral over v rho dv. And you can see this is nothing, this is the total charge enclosed or distributed in volume V. So we can write it as Q, and so it will be dQ by dt. You can see that this Q is what? This is actually integral over V rho dV. And what is this? Actually dQ by dt is the electric current, or you can say conduction current. So we may write integral along C H dot dl is simply equal to I. This is I, and say this is equation 4. So what we have found? You can see that the equation 3 and 4 yields the same result. So results for both figures are same. When we include displacement current or the modified form of Ampere's circuital law, the result is same in both cases. Here we can see that in the case of circuit A, JD is 0, so the current is purely conduction type. While in case of figure B, the conduction current J is 0, and so the current is purely of displacement type. But as the current in both cases are same, so we conclude that the conduction current and the displacement current are equal. So this is a very remarkable fact which I have stated earlier when I was talking about the displacement current. So you can see in case A, JD is equal to 0. In case A, JD is 0, so J is actually equal to what? J is equal to conduction current, and you can say this is JC. And in case of B, JC, I have used the subscript C for conduction. This is equal to 0. And so in this case, J is equal to JD. So we can conclude from here that JC is equal to JD, and this implies the conduction current IC is equal to the displacement current ID, and this is equal to I. So this is our conclusion. So you have seen this problem gives a very important information that when there is a discontinuity in the medium, then the displacement current makes the conduction current continuous there. Now we will take another illustrative example. So first of all, I am writing the problem. So The problem is if an alternating field E equal to E naught cos omega t is applied to a conductor. So that the displacement current is negligible as compared to conduction current. At any frequency lower than optical frequency. You can see from this problem, when we were discussing in the previous lecture the characteristic of displacement current, then I have mentioned this fact. Now we are going to just deal it with in a quantitative manner. We will calculate the numerical value, and from that it will be clear that in a conductor the displacement current is negligible with respect in comparison to the conduction current, but only when the applied frequency is smaller than the optical frequency. So this fact had been dealt already in the previous lecture. Now we are going to explain it in a quantitative way. So let us see the solution of this problem. In this problem, it is given that the applied alternating field to the conductor is what? This is E is equal to E naught cos omega t. And we know from Ohm's law what the electric current density is. So according to Ohm's law, that is microscopic form or vector form of Ohm's law, states that the conduction current J is equal to sigma E, and as E is given in equation 1, so this will be what? This will be sigma E naught cos omega t. And you can see this J is actually conduction current density. You may say only conduction current, but this is actually conduction current density. Now our aim is to find the displacement current density. So from the very basic definition, we can calculate the displacement current. So now the displacement current this is JD. I am just writing only the magnitude of this current, and you know this is actually equal to del D by del T. And you know the electric displacement D is what? This is given as epsilon times E, where epsilon is the permittivity of the medium. Here D has been replaced by epsilon times E. We know it. And now let us put the value of E as defined in equation 1. So this will be what? This will be epsilon naught times epsilon R del T E naught cos omega t. Here actually I have used that epsilon is equal to epsilon naught times epsilon R. You know it, that epsilon naught is permittivity of free space and epsilon R is the dielectric constant or relative permittivity of the medium. And E is given as this. So now after differentiation, what you will get? You will get that this is minus epsilon naught epsilon R E naught omega sine omega t. And this result may be written as JD equal to omega epsilon naught epsilon R E naught cos omega t plus pi by 2. You know that minus sine omega t is equal to cos omega t plus pi by 2. So what will be the equation number? Actually equation number will be 3. This is equation number 3. Now we have calculated the value of the conduction current J and the value of the displacement current JD. Now we will compare the values of these two currents. So from these two equations we can find JD over J, and you can see that this JD over J will be what? This will be omega epsilon naught epsilon R E naught cos omega t plus pi by 2 over. See the value of J. This is simply sigma E naught cos omega t. And therefore the mod of JD over J, this will be omega, see here, this E naught will cancel out, and this will be simply omega epsilon naught epsilon R over sigma, because modulus of cos omega t plus pi by 2 and cos omega t will be same. And so this is the ratio of the magnitude JD over J. Now we will consider, or we will calculate the value of this ratio for good conductors in general. So you can see for good conductors this epsilon r is almost equal to 1, and the electrical conductivity of good conductors are of the order of 10 to the power 7 mho per meter. This is just order, something will be multiplied for different conductors, and so you can find this ratio JD over J. And what will be this ratio? Now let us see the equation in the equation number 4. Omega will be written as 2 pi nu. We can put the value of epsilon naught, epsilon r and sigma. So what will be the result? This will be simply 2 pi times nu. This is for omega, and epsilon naught, this is 8.85 10 to the power minus 12 in SI unit, and epsilon r, this is actually almost 1, and divided by 10 to the power 7. All quantities are in actually SI unit, and so this will be almost equal to nu times 10 to the power minus 17. So what you get from this result? We can see that current in a good conductor is completely, current means displacement current in a good conductor is completely negligible compared to the conduction current at any frequency lower than the optical frequency. So if we take nu is of the order of 10 to the power 15 Hz, actually this is the optical frequency, or you may say order of optical frequency. So in this condition, modulus of this JD over J will be what? This will be almost equal to, when we will put this is 10 to the power 15, so this will be 10 to the power minus 2, and this result implies that the JD is much smaller than J. It means displacement current is negligible in comparison to the conduction current. So if the frequency is smaller, never take the frequency greater than this. If we will take frequency of the order of 10 to the power 17 Hz, both will be same. So displacement current is much smaller than conduction current in case of conductors, and only when the frequency is smaller than the optical frequency. So the important fact which I have described in the characteristic of displacement current is now clear to you. Now we will take an example to clarify the concept of equation of continuity. So let us take the following example. The problem is, if at t equal to 0, the charge density in a medium of conductivity sigma and permittivity epsilon. Permittivity epsilon is rho naught of r. Here t is 0, then find the charge density rho of RT at any later time t. In this problem, you can see that we are given the volume charge density of a charge distribution in a medium whose electrical conductivity is sigma and permittivity is epsilon at a time t equal to 0, and we have to find the charge density at any later time t. Since from the equation of continuity we know that equation of continuity relates the charge density with time, so to solve this problem we must start from equation of continuity. So you can see equation of continuity. You know this equation is given as del rho by del t plus divergence of j, del dot j, this equal to 0. I am just solving this problem in short step. You can understand. Del rho by del t. We know from the microscopic form or vector form of Ohm's law that this j is given as sigma e. This is actually microscopic form of Ohm's law, which I have applied here. J equal to sigma e, and this is equal to 0. We can write this equation as del rho by del t. See here, sigma is a constant, so take it out of the operator and the result will be sigma del dot e, and this equal to 0. We know from the Gauss law for electric field vector E in electrostatics, that is the microscopic form of Gauss law, that this del dot E, that is divergence of E, is equal to what? This is actually equal to rho by epsilon. Del dot E is equal to rho over epsilon. This is actually Gauss law for electric field vector E, which we have studied in electrostatics. And so, what will be our result? Our result will be del rho by del t plus sigma rho over epsilon, and this equal to 0. You can see we can find the time dependence of this rho from this equation. We can write it at del rho by del t equal to minus sigma rho over epsilon. And since we are considering the explicit time dependence of this density rho, so we can write this equation as d rho by rho, and this equal to minus sigma over epsilon dt. Now we have to find this rho at any time t, so let us integrate it. You can integrate it, and after integration what will be our result? This is simply ln rho, and this is minus sigma t over epsilon plus some integration constant, let it is log A. Now you can see if we will take this term in LHS, the result will be ln rho over A, and this is equal to minus sigma T over epsilon. And from here you can write this rho is equal to what? This is A e to the power minus sigma T over epsilon, and say this is equation 1. But here the constant A which I have used is unknown. So first of all we should find the actual meaning of this constant A, and to knowing this we will apply the boundary condition. I am just solving it here, that you know when T is equal to 0, then what is this rho of RT? Rho of RT, this is actually rho of RT. This is actually equal to rho naught of R. It is given. So let us substitute this condition in equation number 1. So what will be our result? Our result will be, this is actually rho naught of R equal to A e to the power 0, and this is simply A. So you can see this constant A is nothing. This is simply the volume charge density at position R equal to R at time 0. And so now let us use this value of A in equation 1, and you will get this rho of RT is equal to what? This is rho naught of R times e to the power minus sigma tau over epsilon. And equivalently you can write it rho naught of R e to the power minus T over tau. Actually I have used the symbol tau for the quantity epsilon over sigma. You can find by substituting the units of epsilon and sigma that tau has a dimension or unit of time. So this will be second, and from this result you can see that the volume charge density at a given position is exponentially decaying with time. If the position is fixed, then it will decay exponentially. So these were some examples to clarify your concept regarding the displacement current and equation of continuity. We will study the famous Maxwell's field equations in the next lecture.